All right, we have made it to week 11 of The Artist's Way. I can't even believe it. If you've been watching my other videos, you know that I already did this once, so technically we're on week 23 of doing The Artist's Way. We're gonna keep it short and sweet today. I think if you're watching this, then you should just read the book. So I'm not going to give too much away, but this week was about recovering a sense of autonomy. The first section is about acceptance. It talks about, like, once you become successful, how do you manage that and how do you keep it up? It says you need to experiment with what works for you. Some people enjoy working a 9 to 5 and they find that gives them more stability to create, and others want to be fully creative and work 24/7. So figure out what works for you. I wrote, self-respect comes from doing the work. If I let my artist run free, it will let me do what I need to do. When my life is dull, so is my work, and I write whether it's good or bad. It says, as an artist, I may frizz my hair or wear weird clothes. As an artist, I write whether I think it's any good or not. As an artist, my self-respect comes from doing the work, one performance at a time, one gig at a time, one painting at a time. I show up daily. I write about my ugly curtains, my rotten haircut, my delight in the way the light hits the trees on the morning run. It also says, the more creative you get, the more functional you can be. This quote says, the job of the artist is always to deepen the mystery. The function of the creative artist consists of making laws, not following laws already made. It is okay if money, property, taxes, and prestige seem silly to worry about. If you are happier writing than not writing, painting than not painting, singing than not singing, acting than not acting, directing than not directing, for God's sake, let yourself do it. To kill your dreams because they're irresponsible is to be irresponsible to yourself. Credibility lies with you and God, not with the vote of your friends and acquaintances. Next section is about success. Basically, just when we get there it disappears. I wrote, you must be prepared to start over and over and over again. There is no end point. Don't let that deter you from enjoying the journey. We insist on a straight and narrow when the artist's way is a spiritual the artist's way is a spiral path. And then it talks about how, like, sometimes when we find success, we have a tendency to want to repeat that same formula, but there will come a time when that formula no longer works for you. So at that point, switch gears, find something that works for you again, and basically continue that process. So also says, do not mortgage your future too heavily. Plans change, people change, you might change your mind. Things you said before might not be true anymore, and that's okay. I wrote, allow room for small adjustments in your trajectory daily. This gives you basically the space that you need to, over the long haul, alter the course and the satisfaction of your career. Attempting to ensure our finances by playing it safe, we lose our cutting edge. Excuse me. We must summon our enthusiasm at gunpoint instead of reveling in each day's creative task. And then this section is about sports. It says basically just how, like, some of our best ideas will come when we're doing, like, repetitive, consistent movement, whether that's a run, a walk, a workout class. I watched this video of a girl the other day that says she gets her best ideas as a musician when she's doing water aerobics. So maybe that is helpful for you. I don't know that I'll be participating in water aerobics, but maybe I'll try it once. It's important to connect to a world outside of us, to lose the obsessive self-focus of self-exploration. I said, movement helps pull you into reality and become one with your surroundings. It increases your ability to handle stress. It gives a story about Jenny Jenny goes on a run every morning. One morning she notices a blue heron. Then work rolls around at 4:30 p.m., 30 minutes before she gets to get off. Her boss comes in looming over her shoulder, and her client has more edits to the copy that they want to make. And instead of getting overwhelmed, Jenny knows that she can handle it because she's still riding that high of her morning run and just feeling connected to the earth. The rhythmic, repetitive action transfers the locus of the brain's energies from the logic to the artist's hemisphere. It is there that inspiration bubbles up, untrammeled by the constraints of logic. This quote says, "To keep the body in good health is a duty, otherwise we shall not be able to keep our mind strong and clear. I am able to meditate more in motion than sitting still. I feel God so closely that my spirit sings. Exercise teaches the reward of process. It teaches the sense of satisfaction over small tasks well done." Sweet. Also, like, being in nature is a very, like, sensory experience. Things do not whiz by. We really see them. Insight follows from sight. We fill the well and later tap into it more easily. And then I wrote how I feel exercising outdoors versus on the treadmill. I said outdoors feels more leisurely, and the treadmill sets the pace and is like more of a constant, like, steady kind of mindless activity that helps you turn your brain off. Especially if you're someone like me that has a hard time doing that, it's very therapeutic getting on that treadmill or Stairmaster or the rowing machine. But as of late, I like the treadmill. Running, walking, all that good stuff. It says we learn by going. We learn we're stronger than we thought. We learn to look at things with a new perspective. We learn to solve our problems by tapping into our inner resources and listening for inspiration, not only from others, but from ourselves. Seemingly without effort, our answers come while we swim or stride or ride or run. Exercise is the act of bringing into play or realizing in action. It's about progress over time. That's how you build a good relationship with yourself. That's how you build trust with yourself. And that's how you keep yourself accountable, is by continuously showing up and doing the small repetitive actions. So, shorter chapter this week. I did something a little different this week with the tasks. I wrote all of them out in my journal and did them throughout the week instead of trying to cram them in all at the end, because I had a hard time with that last week. So this week I did, this one is number pages 1 through 7. Give 1 page to each of the following categories: health, possessions, leisure, relationships, creativity, career, and spirituality. List 10 wishes in each area. Let yourself dream a little bit. Next one is working with the honest changes section in week 4. Inventory for yourself the ways you have changed since the beginning of your recovery. List 5 ways you will change as you continue. List 5 ways you plan to nurture yourself in the next 6 months. Courses you will take, supplies you will allow yourself, artist dates, and vacations just for you. This one I really liked. It says, re-examine your God concept as your belief system. Limit or support your creative expansion. Are you open-minded about altering your concept of God? And then the last one, which was like actually my favorite. I said I really liked the one before, but this one was actually my favorite. It says, list 10 examples of personal synchronicity that support the possibility of a nurturing creative force. This one was crazy because the last 2 ones I wrote were faith and trust. And in my head I was like, do those count as synchronicity? I don't know. And then, like, I did that today. It was time to start the new chapter. So I flipped the page, and literally, recovering a sense of faith, first section is about trusting. That's a synchronicity if I've ever seen one. And that was week 11. What a fun, jolly time it was. I've noticed while doing this book, while working through this book, that I think the weeks go by a lot slower. Like, when I look at the beginning of the week to the end of the week, I feel like a lot changes. And it's kind of hard to explain unless you've also read this book. But I am kind of excited to be done with it because my brain needs a break, to be honest. I love this book. I can't recommend it enough, but like, it's not easy necessarily. It really makes you think about yourself, the good and the bad, and, you know, allows you to forgive yourself for the bad, to move forward from that, to emphasize on the good. But that's also tiring, and you need to give yourself space to like process that information. So I'm excited that we're closing this out. I haven't decided if I want to film week 12 next week and then do like an ending video, or if I want to give myself 2 weeks to do week 12 and then read like the epilogue and stuff. So I will keep you guys updated on that, and potentially surprise video coming today, maybe 2 if I can find the time. But that was week 11, second to last week. Next week is week 12, recovering a sense of faith. If you're watching this and you've stuck around, I love you the most. Thank you for being here. I hope you found a little nugget from this. I hope that you read this book, and if you are reading this book right now, I hope that it helps you as much as it helped me. So that is all for this week. Little short and sweet video. Trying to think if anything else happened this week. I did go to an amazing concert. I saw Little Moon. I've been wanting to see her for years, and it finally happened. And when I first became a fan of her, I was in a very different place than I am now. So it was very full circle to see her and meet with her and talk with her about her music, and just a very special evening. So that was great. Oh, I didn't do the check-in. Morning pages, I did 6 days this week. Artist date was the concert. Also went on a hike. That was so freaking hard yesterday, but it was so fun. And what's the other stuff? Any other issues? No, like, I'm feeling good. I feel like my biggest thing is still balancing it all. My plate is full. I am fed in a very literal and figurative sense, and I'm just working on being the best friend and partner and daughter and person that I can be, and being more patient and kind with myself, and above all, just being grateful for what I have and where I'm going. And I'm just excited. This week, I just kept writing in my journal over and over again about how excited I am. So I will leave you with that, and until next time.